All right, let's dive into something that's shaking up the political landscape right now: Abdul El-Sayed's victory in Michigan. Personally, I think this is more than just a local election win. It's a massive signal of where the Democratic Party might be headed. What makes this really interesting is that it's not happening in a deep blue coastal city, but in a critical Midwestern swing state. If you take a step back and think about it, this could be a turning point for the party's future, especially with the 2028 presidential election looming. Here's the thing: El-Sayed didn't just win, he ran on a boldly progressive platform: universal healthcare, ending military aid to Israel, and campaign finance reform. In my opinion, this isn't just about policy, it's about voters sending a message. They are fed up with the status quo, with a political establishment that feels out of touch. One thing that immediately stands out is how much money his opponent, Haley Stevens, received from outside groups, including $30 million from AIPAC. What this really suggests is that corporate money in politics is becoming a toxic issue, especially for younger voters. What many people don't realize is that this leftward shift isn't happening in a vacuum. It's part of a broader trend that started with Bernie Sanders' 2016 campaign. That campaign, in my view, was the big bang for the progressive left in the US. It didn't win the presidency, but it planted seeds that are now growing into something much bigger. Look at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Zoran Mamdani, and now El-Sayed. These aren't isolated victories, they are part of a movement. A detail I find fascinating is how this shift is tied to global trends. Matt Duss, a former advisor to Bernie Sanders, pointed out that this dissatisfaction with elites isn't unique to the US. It's happening in democracies worldwide. Voters feel like the system isn't working for them, and they are looking for alternatives. From my perspective, this is why left-wing populism is gaining traction. It's not just about policy, it's about challenging a system that feels broken. But here's where it gets complicated: the Democratic Party is deeply divided. The centrists, who've been in power for decades, aren't going to give up without a fight. Alfrom, the guy behind the Democratic Leadership Council, basically said they need to fight back against the progressive wing. This raises a deeper question: can these two factions coexist, or is this heading toward an all-out war within the party? Personally, I think the centrists are out of step with where the country is heading. The world has changed since the 1990s, and their third-way approach feels outdated. Progressives, on the other hand, are tapping into real frustrations: the cost of living, corporate influence, and foreign policy failures. But let's be honest, winning a primary in Michigan is one thing, winning a general election against a Republican like Mike Rogers is another. That's the real test for El-Sayed and the progressive movement. What this really suggests is that the Democratic Party is at a crossroads. Trump's rise has radicalized the party, but not in the way he intended. Instead of moving further right, Democrats are embracing bold, progressive ideas. The question is whether this energy can translate into electoral success nationwide. In my opinion, the 2028 election will be the ultimate test. If progressives can't win, then they might lose momentum. One thing I'm keeping an eye on is who could carry the progressive banner in 2028. AOC is the obvious name, but there's also Ro Khanna and others. What makes this really interesting is that the left is starting to build the infrastructure and sophistication needed to compete at the highest levels. But, as Norman Solomon warned, the centrists won't go down without a fight. This could get messy. If you take a step back and think about it, this isn't just about one election or one party. It's about whether our political system can adapt to the demands of a new generation. Progressives are offering a vision that feels urgent and relevant, but they'll need more than enthusiasm to win. They'll need strategy, unity, and a message that resonates beyond their base. So, what do you think? Is this the beginning of a new era for the Democratic Party, or just a temporary shift? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this analysis interesting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. There's a lot more to come as we head into what could be one of the most pivotal elections in recent history.